Hi there, I'm Birgit O'Connor. Welcome to my studio. Now, today I wanted to show you how you can easily paint a spray of flowers. So let's say you've seen a big purple spray of lilacs or wisteria flowers, or maybe you don't know what they are, but it's just a lot of little petals and you don't know how to handle it. Basically, we're going to keep it as simple as possible. And it really all has to do with how you hold your brush. So instead of painting every little petal and trying to be so exact, all we're going to do is change the angle of the brush, hold it more horizontally, something like this instead of like that. And this is what I want you to pay attention to also. Are we holding it like a pencil, or are we holding our brush a little higher up the handle so it's a little more loose in our hand? So that's what we're going to do today. I know you're going to enjoy this. We also get to spatter some color just by tapping it like this. If you notice where I'm holding the brush, it's a little higher up the handle like that. That way I have a bit more bounce in there. So I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it. It's all about how you hold your brush. So let's get started and have some fun.
So a lot of times people ask me, how would I paint a spray of lilacs? So what I'm thinking about is I'm going to go ahead and take my brush, roll it around. I have no clue what's happening on the surface just yet, but I'm going to go ahead and think I want my spray to be about here. And I'm going to just see what happens. And I'm going to take my brush. Let's get some water and color in here. Maybe I'd like it to be actually brighter. So I'll take some quinacridone magenta, like that, roll this around, have a mingling of color. That might be nice. Let's see what happens. Just roll it in my fingers. Basically, I'm rolling it like this. We could make it bigger. Now, I wet the surface there, so I wanted to see what would happen, and maybe we'll do it on dry paper here. We have a wonderful little edge on this, or if I just skip it across the surface, that's really different than this looser one up here. Both will work just fine, and we can always try to get those little details in, those little flowers. So basically, I'm trying to make it come to a point or close to it, and you may have a different composition in mind. I actually think that works and that works. Let's go ahead, maybe touch a few of those edges to soften them up and create some intentional blooms. That might be nice. And I'm debating, maybe I'll even touch a few edges here and there. Just like that. Now, what will make this really nice is if I come in with a green and work with the complementary colors. Now, the reason why I have this set here is because I've been working a lot with kids' compositions. A lot of beginners may have a set just like this too, so that's available to you. But basically, I'm really liking what's happening here, and I like the combination. This is wet into wet here, and I like this actually a bit more, where I had the dry surface and softened a few of those edges, and I think the effects are actually more interesting. So let's see, I have to wait for things to dry a bit. Just like that. Drop some more color in over here, but that does create some nice little blooms. We have some really fun things happening over there. And I'm just basically touching the surface, rolling my brush around. I could even come in with a smaller brush, like this. Let's do that. And tap in some color. Now we're getting some smaller flowers right there. Or at least that's what we'll tell everybody. Those are smaller flowers. Now it's drying a bit, but we still have a semi-damp surface here and there. And that's okay. I'm going to work with that. And I'm thinking maybe we'll get more of that blue color in there. Let's see. I'm making a big puddle. Let's see if we want that. Maybe it'd be fun to get some different colors here. I think that this brush is a little big, but I want to play with it. And you can also see how I'm holding it in my hand. I'm barely letting it touch the surface. And I could even just spatter some color. I'd be happy with that. I'm curious, what about this brush? Let's give that a try. Now it's going to hold a lot of water. It's going to hold more water than I'm thinking I'd like at the moment. So that is too much water. I need to release some of that. So I'll touch it onto a towel or onto an old paper towel, whatever I have, and let's see how that works. We're getting some color in there. That's okay. I don't want to do too much. Let's get a bit more of that color right in there. Now I'm feeling we're overdoing this, or I'm overdoing this a bit. I'm going to go ahead and take our color and spatter some of that on. Try to soften a few of those strokes up like that. That's probably a little bit more water than I wanted. So we'll just go ahead and let that dry again, and then I'll come back in and add a few more little details. And in the meantime, what I think I'll do is add my green. I'm going to go ahead and take a yellow. Over here, I've got a little bit of my blue still on that. It isn't exactly what I wanted, but it'll be fine. And then let's find a nice, I'll take the same blue. Let's make a nice green. And let's go ahead and put some of that in there. Make some little leaves. More little leaves over here. I have to think about what they look like, but if I get caught up in trying to make them look exactly like the lilac leaves, then it looks like it could look like I'm overworking it. And right now I actually have a lot more fun just mingling the color in directly on the paper. And I'm also changing how I hold my brush. I like how that mingled in there too, so that was nice. And maybe that'll be all I do right there. And let's take some of that darker green, drop it in here and there. Leave that alone. That needs to dry a little bit. And let's see, let's go ahead and get rid of this so we can see our painting. What I might do is add one more spray. Let's drop it in here and there. I'm just tapping it like that. Just tap it. This is so much fun. And if you really want to, you could actually do some negative painting by connecting a few of those lines. That's nice too. Give the impression of those little flowers around it. Just try not to get too caught up, or connect a few of those little dots. That's going to be fine. You can see once I start drawing it, then it looks really deliberate and not as random and not as fun. So it still works, but I like that looseness a lot more. Get a few more bigger spots in there. Oh, you get to get sloppy. Take advantage of your water. Lift this out, let it dry, see what happens. And if you want, you can go ahead and just add a few little accents here and there. Maybe even separate some areas if you want. Add a bit more. We don't need much. I'm afraid I'm overdoing it. Now we've got a great little lilac. And if you want, you could always turn it this way, look at it in a different direction, or maybe we'll even add, let's break it up a little bit. I'll work wet on dry back here to give the impression of another flower. Break that up a tiny bit. And more than anything, it's a lot of fun. Maybe I'll reshape a few of these up here. make it a bit rounder. I'm just touching the very, very tip of my brush. Maybe I'll touch a few little spots down here to try to separate it. Now, how about if I took some of that darker color over on the side, like that, and clean water. That might be nice. Lift a little bit of that out and call it done.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you now have a better idea how you can easily paint a spray of flowers, any flowers. And until next time, have fun and happy painting.